At times, I regret going into that forest. At times, I'm amazed. My story starts a few years ago. In September of 2007, I drove out into a distant forest in my home state of Oregon. I had been camping out there for a day or two when I decided to go deeper into the woods. I'd been walking out there for about an hour. When I decided I walked far enough, I looked up at the bright blue sky. I closed my eyes, taking in the sweet scent of the pine trees. As I was setting up my small tent, the forest, typically filled with the soft chirps of birds and bugs, went silent. I knew from experience that meant a predator was nearby. Maybe there was a cougar, or perhaps a bear. Setting my tools down on the ground, I looked around. There didn't seem to be anything there, so I continued to put up my tent. The sun had almost set by the time I finished. The woods weren't quiet anymore. Whatever had been there was gone now. In the distance, I could hear water. I grabbed my fishing rod and followed the sound, and I found a small river, barely 7 feet wide. I sat there for a few hours, fishing in wonderful silence. As I was walking back to my campsite in the dark, preparing to cook my dinner, I froze. Everything had gone silent again, and I could hear something moving quickly through the brush. I couldn't see anything though, because I hadn't made a fire yet. I had only a weak, dim little flashlight to light my way. The forest still quiet. I put most of my fish into my cooler and started a small fire to cook the rest. The only noise to drown out the deafening silence was the crackling of the fire and the sizzling of the fish as it cooked. Snap! A mere few yards from me, I could hear footsteps. They didn't seem human, but they didn't seem like an animal either. Whatever it was just outside the ring of firelight. Slowly, a tall creature with arms that reached down to its legs hobbled into view. It had pinkish skin, and its eyes were blacker than tar. It was very thin and looked like it was starving. It crept closer to me. A feeling of dread had washed over me. I couldn't move. It opened its mouth wider than I thought physically possible. I was terrified. My shirt and face were drenched in cold sweat. The thing came closer and closer, extending one of its arms towards me, probably ready to grab me, take me to its lair, and do God knows what with me. I wanted to grab my hunting knife, but I still couldn't move. Suddenly, an unholy screech rang out through the night, and something about the demeanor of the creature had changed. It started smiling, almost as if it were telling me, "You got lucky." Then it shuffled away, back into the darkness. I found that I was able to move again, and scrambled to grab my things. I didn't care about whatever else was lurking out there. I just wanted to get away. I frantically dug through my bag, then let out an exasperated sigh. My compass was gone, and I wouldn't be able to make my way back to my truck without it. I would have to wait until morning to leave. It's been years since that day, when I didn't return as scheduled. I was reported missing by my sister. I was found wandering a highway, disheveled and despondent. My sister was the first person I told about my encounter, and to this day only her and a select few people believe my story. The thought of going back to that forest still scares me, and I never enter the woods without a firearm. I don't know why the creature left that night. I don't know what would have happened if it didn't. All I know is that the forest is dangerous. There are things in there that humans could never comprehend.